Now, if you guys are aware, South of Midnight is the video game that is going to be coming out pretty soon. I think it's about a couple of months away, March or something like that. And this is a game that's being currently shilled by a lot of the people who shill other, DEI-oriented games from consultancy firms like Booty Adams and Alyssa Mercante, especially. Those two especially are shilling this game hard. Now, with that being said, South of Midnight has now apparently must have released some sort of embargo or something because every single mainstream urinalist website has now released the same exact thing, which is a preview of South of Midnight, and they're all naming it the same exact thing. They're making some weird kind of like joke about the name and saying I'm a beweaver because obviously the character here has weaving powers or whatever. It's the cringiest thing in the world, and I wanted to go over it with you guys today. Let's get into this video, guys, from the gamer. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says South of Midnight preview. I'm a beweaver. Some summaries. South of Midnight's gorgeous visuals have it as one of the most anticipated Xbox games of 2025. Now, keep in mind, we're only 2 months into 2025. It's not like you guys had many releases, so this is one of those wordplay things where, they say this is one of the most anticipated games of 2025. But to be fair, there hasn't been that many games that have come out. So what exactly are you really saying here? This is not one of the most anticipated Xbox games. Who is lying to you? I have no idea. After playing it for myself, I can add the platforming, characters, and world building to that list of reasons. The only thing that didn't jump out to me is the fairly simplistic combat, which I hope gets deeper and more involved. It will not. Let's be fair. When it's an SBI game, it will not have deep combat. It's just not going to happen. Unless it's a game that already had deep combat before, then there's no way in hell it's going to have deep combat now if it's a brand new game made with SBI. Anyway, I've always had a bit of a weird relationship with Xbox. While I've owned all of its consoles since day one, PlayStation has always been my go-to for most games and most of the massive series the black box is known for, like Halo, Gears of War, and Forza, have never really been system sellers for me like they are for others. Recently, though, Xbox has been on a hot streak of completely original and unexpected titles with passion and creativity coming out of the wazoo that ends up being personal all-timers. It happened with Psychonauts 2 in 2022, Hi-Fi Rush in 2023, and I have a gut feeling that South of Midnight would continue with that George core trend for 2025. Now, I probably wouldn't mention Hi-Fi Rush because even though I loved the Hi-Fi Rush, that studio still got shut down, right? Like, I understand they got bought out by someone else, but still, they got shut down and killed off by Xbox. So very clearly, I probably would not be mentioning that in a game that you're hoping is going to succeed. But, what do I really know at the end of the day? This game, okay, so for me, here's my issue with this game, all right? Number one, my biggest issue with this game is the stop motion, okay? I'm a big fan of stop motion. I love stop motion animation, but I love stop motion animation in movies, right? I don't like stop motion animation in video games because for that, I want video games to be obviously 60 FPS. I want to get that feel of fluidity. I want to feel like the game is smooth and operating smooth. Stop motion, when I'm looking at it from a game perspective, it just seems off because the rest of the game is trying to run at 60 FPS, but the character itself is running at 15, and it just looks really weird to me. And I get some people are going to like it, but ultimately a lot of people are going to feel very jarred by it. It's going to be very weird, and I'm one of those people. I do not like stop motion in video games. It is very jarring. But anyway, from the moment Compulsion Games' next title was first revealed as a 3D action adventure with stop-motion inspired visuals and a rarely seen focus on the Deep South, I was instantly on board. It was a far cry from We Happy Few debut and looked like the type of game I'm always shouting that we need more of. That being said, I did have my share of worries as the simplistic-looking combat and all too brief glimpses of platforming kept me from getting too excited. Now, I saw gameplay of the combat, and I know some people that stream with me, like Kata and Leon. I think they said the game looks good to them. Obviously, they're a little retarded. We need to forgive them. But no, seriously, I'm just kidding. Overall, the game does look average. I think the game looks average at this point. The combat, though, I've said many times in many videos that the combat was not a seller for me. The combat seemed very much simple. It seemed like this article, ironically, is saying it seems like it's going more for a platformer. It's not really going for a 3D action adventure kind of game similar to like Wukong or a Souls game. It seems like it's going for more of a platformer that happens to have the occasional combat here and there, but that's really not what the game is being sold on. You know what I'm saying? So it just seemed a little off to me overall in terms of the presentation for the game, but obviously I'm going to probably end up reviewing it anyway for the channel. After going hands-on with South of Midnight for just over an hour and getting to see how good it looks, you'll get that in a bit. Together with his gameplay, most of the these worries have been put to rest. While they previously seemed like gorgeous art style and intriguing world, we're going to have a sore back from carrying the whole experience. The satisfying movement has me right back on board. The catfish hype train, even if the combat didn't light my world on fire. So even though the game's, combat is seemingly, average or boring at this point, this journalist is like, yep, no, I'm still in it, which, okay, fine, fair enough. Everybody's going to have their different takes on combat. But again, I think for me, the animation is going to be the biggest, lackluster thing about the game. And is really going to take away from the overall experience. Even though I know that they're hoping that it sells it, I think they're hoping that it gives that kind of Nightmare Before Christmas, special look to it. But I don't really think that's going to happen here. He says, my preview kicked off by chucking me just ahead of the shallow end in Chapter 3, where Hazel has already started discovering her abilities as a weaver, magic users who can manipulate the fabric of reality, and as she makes her way through the swamp to reunite with her mom, Lacey, after losing her to a flash flood. Even though Hazel was clearly in dire straits and desperate to find evidence that her mom was alive, I couldn't help myself from stopping to smell the arrows. Without a doubt, Sal's biggest draw is his incredible, unique, and frankly jaw-dropping art style, which is somewhere between puppetry and claymation. Now, I did say in a stream when I looked at it, I said that the environments looked really good. I'm being honest. I thought the environments looked very, very good. But the problem is that the environments are looking good while the characters are looking trash. Okay, like if you look at the environment picture here, take a glimpse of it, remember it. Now look at the character. I mean, seriously, it's how do you go from beautiful environments like this to somebody that looks like they got punched in the face twice and broke their nose? I really don't understand this, but it's clear that there were certain decisions that were being made here that really didn't have beauty in mind, but that's neither here nor there. Plus, you guys got to remember, there was evidence that they originally had a white female lead as the potential lead for the South, and then they ended up race swapping it to a black female lead once SBI got hired. SBI got hired by the CFO or whoever her position was for this company. Once she started working for them, she brought them in. And once SBI came in, well, that's that at the end of the day. So the South of Midnight's crystal clear style is evident from just one's glance, but it's even more impressive in motion once you get used to the deliberately stop-start frame rate. I can't. See, that's the thing. I can't get used to that. My eyes are already trained for 60 FPS plus. I can't get used to that 15 FPS stop-start frame rate. This is why I don't mess with Spider-Man Miles Morales or whatever the case would be. I don't mess with Miles Morales in his movies because they have that same kind of motion. Teaming with crocodiles, turtles, and abandoned houses, unusually massive peaches, and distressed spirits hanging around, the Deep South swamp stuns with vivid colors, wonderfully wonky designs, and an impressive amount of detail in every nook and cranny. So then it says, Weavers are basically magical psychonauts, and I'm so here for it. Now, is it shocking that the person who praised psychonauts in the article is happy that the character in South of Midnight is basically a psychonaut themselves? Now you start to see how things tend to make sense. So at the end of the day, man, South of Midnight is an SBI game. It's officially been, labeled as an SBI game. And I think a lot of people are going to boycott the game simply for that matter. But I will say, like I do all the time, I review all games, right? I get paid to review games. I get games gifted to me and whatnot to review. I'm going to review this game because I think people are heavily going to be looking for transparency with this video game. And they're going to want to know exactly what SBI did in this game. And the only way they're going to find out is by watching their favorite YouTubers play the game to see for themselves. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.